Okay, I gave myself just a wee bit wider seam. I don't know, here's one, you can see the other one. And then I came up and I gave myself just a wider, just a little bit wider area that I can put that Velcro in. But just remember that however wide you make this seam across here in the back, that's how wide your turn is going to be. So now I'm going to have to turn that under the same width of that. If you don't, you're going to end up getting a pucker on the top. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to overlock this so I have all my seams all finished up nice. What I did last night after I sewed all my pieces together, I ironed them all in the same direction so they'll all lay in one direction. Okay. Okay, I did a couple of test ruffles just to see how well this fabric is going to hold. This thread is going to hold. I think it's going to be all right. Okay, so I looked at the picture, and according to the picture, the turn is done on, if you're looking at it, it's on the right side of the fabric. So you take your back two pieces that you have done, and if you're looking at it just like the picture is, this would be the right side of the fabric. Is that right? Yes. Yes, this is exactly right. Okay, so that would be my fold. So then when I put this on my bodice and start pinning it, this is going to be on the right side of the back also. So that's where I'm going to pin those together and make sure that when I attach this to the bodice that I have that fold in there, so that when I go to put my Velcro on and I open this up, the flap that goes over the blouse in the back will also be the flap that has the fold over. So if you're looking at this and you decide you don't want it to go that way, you want it to go the opposite way, that's fine, you can do that. Just take this off because you haven't secured this in any manner. Make this side your fold, turn this one under, and then when you do your Velcro in the back, you can do it and turn it the opposite way. You don't have to do exactly what the pattern says if that's the way you want your fold to go. So if that was my fold, then I would put this on this side. Let me see if that's the right one. No, right sides together would be opposite. It would be on this side, so that when I open it up, now the Velcro is going to be put and it's going to cross over to this side of the blouse. So it's just a matter of preference. However you're comfortable with attaching the Velcro and putting it on the doll, either way is fine. It's just personal preference. I'm sure there's a rule somewhere that dresses should always cross a certain direction in the back, but I don't think it really matters on these doll clothes. Okay, so I've got some ruffles started. I tested my thread to see if I could get them all in, and I think it's going to hold. So I'll get the rest of the ruffles put in, and then I'll come back when I have it attached to the bodice. Okay, I've got the ruffles put in. I pulled the fabric strings, the gathering strings, as tight as the fabric would let me, and it still was too much fabric for this little bodice. So what I did is I tried to ease in all of this fabric around the whole skirt. So my first stitching is going to be a gathering stitch, a big running stitch on here, because I got a feeling that I'm probably going to end up having to take it out and smooth some of the gathers in the right location as to where I want them. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it perfect on the first time around. But if I can do it well enough so that I'll only have to take out little sections, that'll make me happy. But anyway, I put my gathering in 3 sections. I gathered 3 sections. I pulled my gathers as tight as the string would let me. I put it on the bodice, and then I had to ease in the residue of the leftover fabric that I couldn't fit. As far as the outside edges where I'm going to put the Velcro, I didn't put any gathers in this one area. Let me see if you can see what I'm talking about. I didn't gather this. I just put it flush with the back of the dress. This one, I turned it under the same width of the bottom crossover here, and then I turn that under. So now when I turn the skirt and make that blouse, that crossover, I won't have that opening in the back. Okay, so what I'm going to do now at this point is I'm going to do a running gather on this and see if how I attached it to the bodice looks nice. And the reason I'm doing it is because I don't want to have to take out all those little stitches if I make a mistake. So I will sew this and then I'll come back and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, boy, is it a hot one today outside. Okay, anyway, what I've done is I've put in my gathers, and I sewed a temporary line of stitching on here. And the reason I did that is because I want to be able to go all the way around my skirt and make sure that the gathers and ruffles that I did put in here, I'm happy with. So, like something like this. Say you didn't like that. It was too puffy right here. Since you've only done temporary stitching, you can go in there and just clip a couple of these stitches right here. Fix that where you like it, and then put a little couple more stitches on there, because you don't have, this is just a temporary line of stitching to get all your ruffles where you want them, or gathers, whatever you want to call them. You're not going to have all these seams down the middle unless you have to piece your fabric together like I did. Otherwise, you're just going to use one solid piece of fabric and it'll look nicer. But anyway, go all the way around, see how you like it. And like I said, if you don't like any of these things here, now is the time to fix them before you put your final seam of sewing. Okay, so I'm okay with all of the ruffles so far. I've already made 3 fixes that you didn't see from before. But now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a permanent line of sewing across here. And then I'm going to cut all of my frayed ends off. And then I'm going to use my overlock and overlock these together. As far as you can, if you want to, you can push all your fabric up and put it up against your bodice. I'm not going to do that because I think once I get it cleaned up and then overlocked, it'll be fine and I won't have to worry about it. And then we'll try it on the doll and I'll find out whether or not I did a good job, whether or not I added that, taking those seams out of the middle to add that little extra on. I'll find out. But basically that's where we're at. Okay. Okay, this next part's optional. I'm doing it so I can cut down some of the bulk in my waistband. What I've done is I've gone around and I've trimmed all of the loose, as many as I could find anyway, all of these loose threads. So now I'm going to I've pinned my skirt part to the bodice down so I won't mistakenly cut it by mistake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little trimming on here so I can get rid of some of this bulk. But like I said, it's totally optional. You don't have to do it. But I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to put a line of overlock stitching here. It's just to get rid of some of this bulk because you have just such a ton of gathers. So just be careful how you do it and make sure, like I said, that's why I pinned my fabric down so I can make sure it's out of the way. Okay, you're just getting rid of some of this bulk. Okay, there's another piece that can go. More. Okay. Oh, there we go. Looks good. A lot lighter. Doesn't seem like much, but every little bit helps. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlock that entire section. I may have to do it off camera because I'm almost out of bobbin thread, but we'll see. Okay, so my overlock, I have my overlock G on, and I'm just going to take these pins out so they don't bother me. Let me see what you're seeing. Yeah, too far over. Okay, so take your pins out. You're going to just put your, what would be the easiest way to do this? Probably with the skirt inside out. So let's just turn this inside out. Okay, so now I'm just going to put my pressure foot right down there on that spot, and I'm going to overlock. Okay, let's see if I have enough thread. Make sure your skirt is completely out of the way. And what that's doing is hooking the skirt to the bodice on that seam, and it's also preventing a bunch of unnecessary ravels on the skirt on the dress when you take it on and off. Tuck it under, make sure it's all tucked in. Make sure you're butted up against that bar. Tuck under your fabric. Okay, you can go up and down if you want to stop your stitching. All it does is just sew in place. But we're going to put Velcro on the edge of that anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so what we've succeeded in doing is securing all that fabric together and getting rid of a lot of those ravels. So now when you put the doll dress on and off, you won't have to worry about all this stuff fraying and raveling. So basically that's what we just did. Okay, and here is the front of the dress. And the next step is to insert the Velcro, sew it on, and put a hem in. We need to make a petticoat, and pretty much this dress is done. Okay? Alright, see you later.